Story 1. Being a good, genuine person will ultimately bring positive results. Using the phrase payoff is not literal. I mean that good people and good deeds are often taken for granted rather than appreciated. This basically refers to the concept of karma. Story 2. Working full-time, 5 days a week. We already have enough food, technology, and housing. The issue is distribution, not effort. Forcing constant work makes no sense when some never work at all and thrive on wealth, while unpaid labor is ignored. The system is broken, not the people. Story 3. Destined or fated lovers. When I was younger, I very naively believed that there was only one person who was perfect for me, and that was who I would spend the rest of my life with. Well, life had a way of knocking me flat on my back with that concept being untrue. So yes, I do not believe in people being meant to be anymore. Thank God. Story 4. The idea of soulmates. I don't want to sound bitter. I just have to see it for myself to believe it. Sometimes that word is used loosely these days. Someone cannot just say they are your soulmate and then undo it as if it meant nothing. Story 5. Tolerating physical and emotional abuse from a parent because they had a hard life with a lot of trauma. Feeling obligated because you only get one father or mother. I have had a really hard life because of their abuse, and I have never treated anyone the way they treated me. After 40 years, I learned they do not want to accept any accountability for their actions. So I am out. Story 6. I cannot change my circumstances immediately. It might take a long time, involve setbacks, and require a lot of hard work. However, I absolutely can. Story 7. God. When I was young, I used to believe in God. Now I do not, but sometimes I feel maybe. I do not know. It depends on the situation you are in, good or bad, that makes you question things. Story 8. No matter how many times you tell a woman she is gorgeous and beautiful, and even through your actions display it, if she has trauma and is not healed, it is almost like you are talking to a wall because it does not get through, unfortunately. Story 9. Democracy. I do not believe everyone has the right to vote. I became very disillusioned with elections after 2 terrible experiences in 2000 and 2016. Socrates was right about democracy, as is George Carlin. Story 10. Relationships. It is sad to know that one person will always love the other more, do more, give more, and care more. Story 11. That Europeans, whom I prefer not to refer to by certain contentious terms, are the most evil people in history. I stand by my statement. Story 12. I come from a post-Soviet country, and all my life I have been told how much communism was bad and how happy we should be to finally have capitalism and freedom. While the communist era was indeed dystopian, the current capitalist system is going to harm us all in the end. Story 13. Democracy is a flawed concept because it allows people to have a popularity contest to determine who holds too much power without oversight. Story 14. Free will. If the brain is an object, then it follows physics. If the soul exists, then an omnipotent God makes free will logically impossible. If it is all down to quantum mechanics, then random is not free either. Story 15. Being an adult is a trap. My honest advice: don't ever stop being a kid. Just remember to pay your bills and take care of your children. Forget society's views on maturity because many people do not understand it anyway. Enjoy being a kid. I am a 52-year-old kid. Story 16. When I was a teenager, I read books by authors like Eric von Daniken about the alien astronaut theory. This theory proposes that extraterrestrials came to Earth and influenced our development by seeding the planet, selectively breeding apes, or genetically combining their DNA with that of apes to create humans. Now that I am an adult and have received an education, I realize that this theory is completely false. Story 17. The ability of words to change things. Sometimes, no matter what you do, you will not be understood. Words will fail you. This is unfortunate because my training was based on the idea that it is possible to change things with words. Story 18. I no longer believe in people in any role, whether manager or coworker, because of my most recent job. I have grown to absolutely hate management. I had respect to a degree in previous jobs, but my current manager frustrates me. I want to take my bike and ride into ongoing traffic at top speed, without hesitation. I would rather be roadkill on the side of the street than have to deal with my manager today. She can't even write the schedule properly. The system says I don't work at all next week, but I bet I will work maybe 2 days, about 10 hours at most. Story 19. Don't believe in love. Someone can talk to you almost every day for 8 years and then tell you they don't love you and do things behind your back without feeling bad. They don't even bother to learn anything about you or care. Story 20. Unfortunately, as a man, it's difficult to be genuinely kind and caring towards others. Throughout school, this caused me to be bullied because I was seen as weak. I didn't like to fight, but I defended myself and was no longer picked on. While working different jobs, I've noticed that, particularly around other men, I don't seem to be respected as much, taken seriously, or I'm viewed as weak. I'm also in my early 20s, so being young could also have something to do with that. The truth I've learned is to never be too kind. I've had to change my behavior to seem like I have a little more edge, at least around certain people I know I should act that way around. I've gone through hard things throughout my life that may cause other people to be harsh. Not me, though. I view putting on this whole tough guy persona as kind of lame. I think the toughest men don't have to put that look on, and they're genuinely kind. I don't find enjoyment in trying to intimidate people. I think men like that are weak because they have to act that way to convince themselves they aren't. I've always stayed true to being kind. It's who I am as a person, and no matter how mean the world gets, I don't think I will ever change. On the positive side, being kind has allowed me to help a lot of people with their own issues. I've been able to do that since I was a young teenager. So, I guess I no longer believe that just being kind will make people like you. It will actually make some people hate you or become more hateful toward you. Story 21. That I will only ever have one love of my life, one great love, and nothing will ever be the same after. I can appreciate and acknowledge how real that love was, bury it, and find better fields to frolic in. Story 22. The American Dream. The climb is full of obstacles, and the poorer and blacker you are, the bigger they are made for you. There is no reality where the average American can just do as they are told. Get a job after school, meet someone, start a family, get a house, and repeat. It was already difficult for many, but the elderly have removed support from their own descendants and given many of them fast tracks instead because the system no longer exists. Story 23. Follow your bliss. Dreams can come true. Anyone can grow up to be president. Well, forget the last one. Story 24. That hard work pays off. I completed a difficult degree and worked tirelessly for approximately 20 years for a reasonable salary, experiencing stress and anxiety. I worked very hard on fitness but ended up permanently injuring myself, making me unable to enjoy my lifelong hobbies and passions. I think I would have been better off pursuing a fun career, both mentally and financially, and better off physically if I had exercised less. Story 25. I no longer believe that humans are naturally kind, rational, or forward-thinking. I believe it takes a careful set of conditions and education for groups of people to move society forward. Like a house of cards, these conditions may not be stable long-term. I do not know for sure, but I have a feeling that humanity will always go through backward cycles and lose vision for anything in the future beyond a couple of human lifetimes at most. Story 26. The separation between art and artist. I no longer really believed in it for the past 5 years, but recent events made me angry at those who defend this idea when they know that an artist can be responsible for things like genocide. Story 27. That I will be happy. I have had a very rough life as a child and fought through it all. As an adult, I continue to press on. But it just seems like I keep getting dealt awful cards and mistreated by the universe. I feel like I never have room to just breathe and relax. There's always something new I have to deal with. I am just so exhausted. I do not expect a life of luxury, but I do not want each day to be a trial either. After fighting for so long, you start to lose hope and just go through the motions. Story 28. When it comes to cases of sexual harassment, women are not always faultless or telling the truth. Raised by a mother who is very sincere, the idea that a woman could falsely accuse a man of harassment to get even or as a way of throwing a tantrum was something I had not even considered. It does not happen as often as men assaulting women, but it is not uncommon either, which is the challenge now. Story 29. New Earth, and the idea that we were created as humans. I was raised in a conservative Christian home, and naturally, I was more inclined to believe what my parents believed. But as I grew up, I started to reflect on what I actually believe, why I believe it, and whether I should continue believing in it. I would say I am naturally a logical person, and depending on what you consider logical, that may be the lack of gods. However, since I grew up around Christianity, it is difficult to change my views quickly. What I have done is find a way, and I am continuing to find a way, to integrate scientific beliefs with my faith. One way I did that is by realizing that if God created the universe, then he created science as well. If science describes God's creation, then I should treat it as such. Story 30: Human Rights in Canada. I can seriously look at the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms and probably point out violations against me on every other page. This was not done because I was a threat to national security. It happened because I went through a really bad breakup at a time when my family was losing everything. Out of anger, I lashed out at people, which is rare for me. Instead of helping me navigate a difficult situation, friends and family made it much worse by involving law enforcement simply because I showed anger. I have never been violent, never been reported for domestic abuse, and have no criminal record. I was simply angry. That was 8 years ago, and they still have not stopped. Human rights in Canada do not exist, and law enforcement violates them regularly for no reason at all. Human rights are a myth in Canada. Story 31. The West was never truly interested in human rights, democracy, and other terms used to justify many invasions and occupations. Gaza has opened many people's eyes to the fact that it was never about human suffering, only about power and power projection. Story 32. Mainstream news in the United States consists of individuals who are reluctant to report honestly about politics due to fear of retribution from the current president. This form of unbiased information manipulation is both ridiculous and dangerous. Story 33. God, karma, power of love and friendship. You are the only one who will always be there for you. Story 34. God. When I was manic, I was on fire for God. Once my religious psychosis went away, I became an atheist again. Story 35. Many people talk about karma, and I have to admit, karma is the easiest way to become a doormat. It does not make you look stoic or anything like that. You simply allow people to take advantage of you. Story 36. Here is my one. Familial relationships. Blood is thicker than water. Honorable mentions. God, karma, capitalism, the government, any word that comes from a corporation's mouth. The goal of life is to raise a family and have children, to have a partner in life. Might be biased since I am a romantic. The average work week, people's rights to harmful substances and tools such as cars, guns, and alcohol, kindergarten through 12th grade history classes, ethical billionaires, hazing in the workplace, especially in the medical field, shaming women for sex work, male, loneliness epidemic, and racism. I could probably name more. Before anyone gets on my case, yes, these are things I used to believe in, so my post stays true to the prompt mostly. Story 37. People will change when they lose someone they love. No, they will change to get you back, then mess up again. Story 38. By most metrics, people are good-natured. However, people can also be selfish, insincere, and conceited individuals who manipulate, lie, and play games with the lives of others for personal benefit. People believe rumors, and lies become accepted as truth. There is little integrity or honesty left in the outside world. Be grateful if you have one close friend you can trust with your life. Story 39. Humanity. I hope I am wrong. I would love to be wrong. I think we missed our window for success. Like previous generations of humans before us, I believe we will cause another mass extinction event. Each cataclysmic event that set humans back, disease, war, environmental disasters, was a lesson we learned from. However, I think greed is possibly the worst catastrophic cause of all. Once nuclear weapons start being used, there will be no reset. We will be starting over from scratch repeatedly. Story 40. Civil discourse has been replaced by hostile arguments, harsh accusations, and manipulative fear-mongering. Story 41. Everything is possible. I don't say that negatively at all. There are some paths in life we are just not meant to take, even though we may strongly desire them at the time. Some things are just not meant to be. Eventually, we have to realize that we need to find our destiny ourselves and meander through different yearnings until we find the one that truly works for us. Not everything is possible, but what is meant for us is possible. Story 42. The false belief that if you are honest, work hard, have a family, and own your house and car, you are living the American dream. Story 43. Atheism. I do not like religion and believe that religious scripture was built to control masses of people with lies. However, I found God through my own life experiences. This does not mean I hate religious people, but I dislike what religion does to people because it feels more like a scam that prevents you from living the way God intended. It is just there to comfort you from the fear of death. I believe each of us was put on planet Earth to purify our soul and find God through observation and introspection. You can never do that if you live your whole life being innocent and conforming to a book written by another human being. If you cannot accept your own soul and try to improve upon it through your own life experiences, then your mission on Earth has failed and you need to try again through reincarnation. One thing I think the Bible got right is heaven and hell. After seeing how the cosmos was created and how many unanswered questions remain about it, how deliberate the laws of physics seem and how they can glitch out to create black holes that break every law of physics, I believe in the possibility of different dimensions and layers of consciousness, different planes of existence through the things that already exist within nature. As someone who has lived most of their life as an atheist, I can honestly say I have faith in God now. I see every instance of my life as a lesson to help purify my soul, even if it hurts. It is for me to decipher, not for some book to tell me what God wants. God has shown me what He wants from me, and it is not worship, it is not to be His slave, it is not to fear Him and be obedient. I do not even really think He cares if I know He exists. He just wants me to learn to accept my own soul for what it is and build upon it through love, self-discovery, forgiveness, acceptance, and endurance. Religion leads to false love and real hatred. You can live your entire life following religious scripture, never make a mistake, and your soul might not grow. The layered hatred that comes from religion might damage your soul enough that you actually end up in hell because you are not being your true self. The love you emit is fraudulent, only acting to appease the people around you or because you fear God, not because you love Him. Story 44. The American dream is dead. The middle class is disappearing with it. I feel sorry for the young people. They have no real chance of owning a home and earning it for themselves. Story 45. Love that there are people who are truly willing to give themselves and to live genuinely without games or manipulations. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.